Hi, you're watching Reddit Shikstore, and if you're looking for a story that doesn't start with butterflies in your stomach and a happy ending, you've come to the right place. My name is Finn. I'm 48, and I am a curator at a memorial museum. My work is to collect fragments of the past. Soldiers' letters from the front, faded photographs, toys that outlived their owners. I systematize memory, turning the chaos of loss into strict display case exhibits. My life with Emily I also considered a perfectly organized exhibition titled Happy Marriage. We lived together for 16 years. She worked in commercial real estate, turning spaces into money. I preserved things that cannot be measured by money. It seemed we complemented each other. The first artifact of the future disintegration was a strange laugh in her voice when she spoke on the phone in her office. A laugh not for me, light, playful, almost girlish. Then a new scent appeared in her wardrobe, foreign to me, patchouli and leather, instead of the usual citrus notes. They gave it to me to try, she said, not looking me in the eye. I began collecting evidence, as I do for exhibits. In the wastepaper basket in her home office, I found a crumpled receipt from the Granary Bar in Manhattan. The date was the previous Thursday, when she had a girls' night with Sarah. The amount, for 2 cocktails. The next day in the laundry, I found a man's handkerchief in her coat pocket, dark blue silk with the initials RV. Too elegant for an accident. The object of her interest, as I discovered, was Ryan Voss, the new partner at her firm. He handled the luxury segment. I'd seen him once. Tanned, with graying temples, wearing a watch that cost more than my annual salary. He spoke about wineries in Napa as if they were his backyards. The decisive proof was the GPS tracker I installed in her car. Every Thursday, her route meandered not to the gym, but to the Esplanade Apart Hotel on the waterfront. I stood across the street on my day off and saw them entering together through a separate entrance. I felt no rage, no desire to storm in. There was only a cold, museum-like calm. My world didn't collapse, it turned into an exhibit. An exhibit of betrayal. I didn't set out to ruin his career. That would have been too primitive, like smashing a display case in a museum. Instead, I decided to destroy the very soil on which their romance bloomed, their shared memories, their special connection. I called my plan Operation Palimpsest. A palimpsest is an ancient manuscript where a new text is written over an old one. But with modern technology, the old text can be read. I was going to erase their new, fake text, revealing the emptiness beneath it. Phase 1. Researching the subject. Ryan Voss wasn't just rich. He was a collector. But not of art, of experiences. His social media was filled with photos from marathons in Hawaii, diving in the Maldives, dinners at Michelin-starred restaurants. He collected moments to prove something to the world and to himself. His weakness, a narcissistic need for unique, exclusive experiences to boast about. I created a fake profile for an art dealer, Sebastian Corrado. My legend was impeccable. I represented private clients seeking unique, unconventional experiences for a select few. I reached out to Ryan through mutual Instagram connections. After a month of correspondence about the authenticity of experience in a world of copies, I proposed something extraordinary. I have a client, I wrote. He wants to give his wife a memory for their anniversary. Not a yacht, not jewelry. He wants to recreate their first date with absolute authenticity. They met in Paris in 2005. Everything must be reproduced. That tiny bistro by the Seine, the menu, the music, even the weather forecast for that day. I'm looking for someone who can execute this idea with filigree precision. The budget is unlimited. This is a love story. Ryan took the bait. For him, this wasn't an order. It was proof of his refined taste, his access to a world where love is measured not by money, but by attention to detail. He threw himself into the project with fervor. Phase 2. Substituting the original. I gave him the exact coordinates. The Bistrot Le Petit Oiseau. It did exist in 2005, but closed in 2008. I hired actors, an elderly couple to play the owners, and a waitress. I rented a vacant space for 3 days and recreated the interior from old photos from archives. I found the wine list from that season, reconstructed the menu. It cost me half my annual salary, but I considered it an investment in the project. Ryan was ecstatic. He brought Emily there, presenting it as the most authentic Parisian date in New York. For her, this was supposed to be the peak of romance, proof of his genius. But I embedded ghost artifacts into this experience. 1. Music. Instead of the exact French composition from 2005, I played the song from our wedding dance. Not loudly, but as a distant background noise from the kitchen. 2. Scent. I arranged with the owner to light an aromatic candle in the hall before their arrival, with the scent of old paper and frankincense, exactly like in my museum's library, where Emily and I first kissed. 3. Detail. Sewn into the napkin Emily used to wipe her lips was a silk thread the color of her engagement party dress. She couldn't have missed it. These were keys to her own past, tossed into a perfectly constructed fake. Phase 3. Revealing the Palimpsest. After their magical evening, on behalf of Sebastian, I sent Ryan a photo report and video, shot with a hidden camera, with thanks. And a week later, from a new number, I sent Emily an anonymous letter. In the envelope, one of those very photos from their dinner and a printout with a detailed breakdown of the entire project. Each item was initialed RV. At the bottom was the sum, $28,500. And a postscript. Every moment has its price. Even a stolen one. Yours was reproduced with remarkable accuracy. I hope it was worth it. An admirer of your authentic history. The effect was devastating. Her unique, magical evening, the proof of a special connection with Ryan, turned out to be a purchased, planned, and commissioned illusion. Moreover, an illusion permeated with the ghosts of my past with her. I found her in tears. She wasn't sobbing, but crying quietly, staring at the photo of them at dinner. What happened? I asked softly. It was all a fake. That whole evening. He paid for a performance. I sat down next to her, not touching her. Emily, I said quietly, looking at the wall with our old photos. In my work, there is an important rule. The most valuable exhibits are not the perfectly preserved ones, but those that bear the marks of time, scratches, signs of use. Because those are traces of real life. A skillful copy, even the most expensive one, will always be just a copy. It has no soul. Only the price tag. She looked up at me. And in her eyes, besides pain and shame, I saw real, primal horror. The horror of a person who realized they had been living inside an artfully created diorama and doesn't know who its architect was. Ryan tried to call, to explain. She didn't answer. A month later, he transferred to the California office. People whispered that he had lost his edge and got involved in strange projects. We didn't get divorced. But we aren't together either. Emily quit her job. Now she volunteers at an animal shelter, where all emotions are simple and genuine. We live in the same house, like two valuable but distant exhibits in a large, quiet gallery. I won. I proved that their love was a skillful production. But in this victory, I buried the last remnants of our own, once real history. Now I am the curator of a museum in which there are only 2 exhibits. Her and me. And the silence between us is the loudest and most flawless exhibit of all. Sometimes I catch myself thinking that the best revenge is not in destroying someone else's past, but in forever turning the present into a cold, impeccable display case, behind the glass of which everything has frozen, including oneself.